What's going on? What's going on?
What's happening?
All right. How's everybody doing tonight?
Looking a little grainy up in this bad boy from the hotel room.
You got that 8mm look.
Yeah. But I'm here though.
That's the most important thing.
Thank you.
It's not about, man. It's not about how you look, man. It's your effort, man. You made an effort. You made an effort, man.
Yeah, when people tell you that, man, you know it is about your look.
Man, you know you in trouble.
Right.
You know you in trouble, man. You know
Don't
you
worry about
are.
those green jeans that you had on. Yeah, you look like a nurse, but it's all right.
Man.
Had some green pants on my mom.
This one. It's what's inside that counts.
It's what's inside that counts. Yeah. I know you got 5 stripes on your shoes and not 3. Don't worry about it.
Tracks, not the tracks, bro. Tracks. Remember the tracks?
Right.
From Sears.
Bruh. In New Orleans, but they call everything Jimmy's, bruh. You got those Jimmy's on. Any knockoffs were called Jimmy's, bruh.
And that's a rut, man. I feel bad, man. Feel bad. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Local Musicians.
XP.
Hey, man, you right on time. They may be in the studio all day. That click. See, you got that timing now, man. You like right on top of it. It's 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row.
I had to put a grappling hook on that grappling on that click track, bro. Man, that boy is unrelenting. People don't know, bro.
Man, you just gotta make it your friend. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
So we are in the midst of recording Carla Harris's new record, and is that the control room right there?
Control room, bro. Panoramic screen.
Panoramic. All right. This is Trammell Stark's new studio down at the University of Auburn, and we are recording Carla Harris's project today. Tracked today and then tomorrow. Robert Boone, Tyrone, Kelly McCarty tracked today. Tomorrow is myself. Myself, Tyrone, and Willie Billy Thornton, my brother.
Psycho Billy Thornton.
So looking forward to a great session. We had a great rehearsal, and so this thing is state of the art, man. I think B pulled up some pics. You got the pic from the of the live room, Brian, with the keyboards with Tyrone. I think he posted a shot with the keyboards. So we got a state of the art, brand new shiny. I heard about this actually first from our brother Chris Blackwell, who is tight with Trammell, and he was talking about trying to get us to go down there to do some stuff, which will happen here in the very near future, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And but tell me about a little bit about the experience, man. So you seem like you was real happy with the results.
Yeah, when you walk into a place, you kind of survey everything and where the sweet spots are and how you're going to relate to it, because people don't know. It's a personal experience that you have with your instruments, whether you're playing a different drum set, a new drum set, a new keyboard, or new piano, what have you. So as you can see right there, that's the big room, and you have a Yamaha Disclavier piano, which sounds great. You have the 1968 B3 organ right there, Hammond B3 with the 122 Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at that chocolate Rhodes over there, that's a
chocolate Rhodes.
Familiar one, and got the nice bark coming through. It sounds really good coming through. Stereo, because it's got the tremolo and all that kind of stuff. So it sounds really good.
Is that yours or is that theirs?
Oh, that's mine, bro.
Okay. Well, the way you said it earlier, I was like, oh, they've got a Rhodes down there. Okay.
Well, I mean, I could sell it to them. I might be in the market of selling things. No, never.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there might be something else coming down the line that I could possibly get, but
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. So, what's the? I know you were mentioning that we play here, Auburn. I mean, it's not that far. It's a couple of hours south,
Yeah, it's 90 minutes from where I stay, so it's
right
not bad. I thought I was gonna pass Bucky's on the way, but it's before Bucky's.
before Bucky's, man.
Oh, man.
I don't know, Bucky's, man. Bucky's is just a little bit further, man.
That's a little bit, bro.
You know,
Yeah, but it
uh,
was it was really cool. Great tracking and stuff. And Tramo seemed like he's found a home. I'm happy for him. These kind of
mhm,
opportunities don't come around every day,
mhm.
and he took full advantage of it. And he's made it his home, and he's moved down there now. He was gonna give it a year to see, but now he knows. Man, another thing is support.
I was just gonna bring that up because that's
Man,
a lot of what we're gonna talk about tonight,
so vision, bro. And if somebody can
and that's
support
another
you,
word.
right,
That's another key word.
that's inside this episode. Man,
You're gonna
I'm
see.
on it. My
You're gonna,
time it, bruh.
you're gonna
You
see.
need to record me right now.
I know.
Time
Well,
is
we
up.
are. We
Right,
are.
right.
So,
And I can't wait till we put that joint out, man. Because it's some. I listened back to the rehearsal files and they sticking. I'm like, I can't wait till we get.
well, you did a
I-
great. I mean, there's great. I mean, it really, man. If you have the arrangements,
right.
it
And then
and
you
you
get the
did a
players to interpret it. It makes all the difference in the world.
yeah, but you did a great job arranging for. It's not easy to do because you're trying to have a few different ingredients in there.
Right.
So but you're trying not to make it all sweet and low, if you
Yes.
will,
Yes. Yes.
which is easy to do. So you're trying to sort of uh walk a thin line, and
Right.
I think you really did that, man, in terms of
Thanks,
having
man. Appreciate it.
the lineage, and but also it the contemporary thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then some interesting rhythmic things that are in there, and and Carla's such a seasoned, and she said, the thing about Carla,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she knows her style. She knows her style.
Mm-hmm.
And when she does, she really has a very identifiable sound to
Yeah.
not just her voice, but in terms of the just how her music sounds, man. She knows how to pick the
Yeah.
right people for her, for her sound,
Yeah.
and it's got a it's got enough of that 70s, you know, where you can sort of hear, but it still sounds contemporary. So
Right. Right.
that's a great place to be, in my opinion, in the
Yeah.
jazz world.
Right. Right. For sure. For sure.
You know. So all right, man. Well, we got a few things on the plate. Let's go ahead and get some housekeeping out of the way. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe on YouTube and like us on Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us also on Twitch. You can subscribe to us on Twitch. Man, Twitch is hot right now because the new college football game is out. Man, cats are
Oh wow.
blazing streams right now. So and then, of course, with all the political stuff that's going on, cats are chatting. So Twitch is on fire right now. For those of you who don't haven't checked Twitch out, you need to. It's an interesting platform that's mostly gamers, but a lot of people have talk, podcast, and streams and stuff on there, and you can stream basically anything you want. So
Cool.
check us out on Twitch, and yeah. So with all of that good stuff, we're gonna sort of get to all the matters of at hand, and the first one
Sure.
is Tyrone Jackson and Friends at Red Light Cafe, July 28th. This was supposed to be originally at St. James,
Yes.
and we don't need to go further into why it was moved, but you have moved the show to the Red Light Cafe, and the Red Light Cafe is quickly becoming a friend of the musician, a friend of the podcast, a friend of the arts. a
Yes.
friend to the
Yes.
arts. So,
Right.
and this is a cool thing. It's an afternoon show, 3 p.m.
Yes.
So y'all get out of church, head over to the Red Light
Come on
Cafe.
over there.
Check it out. Check it out.
Thank you for that plug, my brother. Appreciate
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir.
What else we got on the docket?
And then August 8th at Napoleon's. I think we got a little flyer for that too. If I think I sent no flyer.
Right.
Well, same band basically for what's coming up after that, but this is going to be a meeting of the minds, so to speak, right? We got two Hammond B3 organ players in the house that night. Tyrone Jackson, my partner right here, and the great Pat Bianchi. So you're going to get one set of Tyrone, one set of Pat, and that's going to be August 8th at Napoleon's. We are still waiting on some flyer, some art for that, but it's coming. And you talked to him?
He wanted to do two organs on stage with drums.
I know he did. That's what I was like, I know what he wants to do, what he was going to want to do.
I was like, I don't think we have room for that, bro. Plus, I want him to, put some of them sounds in my organ there, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's do that. I was like, maybe I'll set up a keyboard on the side. I can play some other stuff. So
yeah. Say, hey, man, I'll bring mine. You can play mine, man. Just hook it up.
Exactly what I said. That's what I said, bro. You know me.
Hook it up. Yep. Yeah. So that'll be a great night of music. We got to figure out tickets are not priced yet, but it's coming. We should have that by this weekend, hopefully, and we'll figure all that out.
Just be there. That's all.
Don't be there, man. Exactly. Just be there. So that's going to be August 8th. And then 2 days after that will be same band minus Tyrone. Will be up at Rudy's Jazz Room in Nashville. So all my Nashville peeps, if you are in town, I know I got a couple of brothers coming out that are going to be checking us out and hanging out. But if you're in Nashville and you want to
Murfreesboro, Chattanooga, Murfreesboro.
That's right. That's right. All surrounding cities. Come on in and catch the sounds of the Pat Bianchi Trio featuring Ben Weatherford and myself on drums. So I think that's pretty much it, man. Let's see. We got any comments flowing in? We got a little Brad Thomas. What's up, Brad?
Yeah.
How you doing, my man? John Lamatina, who came out, sounded great at the session last night. Man, I told you, he's on a mission now.
That's all right.
He's on a mission. He came out again last night. He was nice and relaxed. He, came out from teaching, just came out chilled, got a little coffee in him, man, and got to play, I think, 3 or 4 tunes, man. Sounded real good.
Nice.
And what's up, Tia? How you doing? Tia, of course, hosted the session last week. What was that? 2 weeks ago. Did a great job at that. And of course, she sounded swinging as usual last night at the Napoleon session. And my man Mancini
at Red Light, she comes by.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So, and what's up, my man Mancini, the Hammer? What's going on? That's what they call him, man. The Hammer.
They call him?
That's what they call him, man.
Okay, I gotta find that one out.
Well, yeah, put it in the chat, man. Where'd you get that? Where'd that nickname come from? If it's explicit,
don't put it in there. Text the brother. Text the brother. We still want to know.
Still want to know.
Right.
Yeah, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be shy, man. Don't be shy. So, but yeah, man, we lot going on with these. Everybody's got a session. Everybody's got we're in a weird time for live music. We're in a weird time for it's almost a little bit of a code red situation, man.
Good code red.
Code red situation, because it's like there's a battle between the club and the artist right now. And it's, I don't know where it's going to kind of go from here, because the club wants you to do everything.
OMG.
The club
Gee,
wants you to do everything, and then they'll cancel you.
everything.
They'll cancel you in a heart, as somebody on this that's next to me just found out.
Right.
It's at a moment's notice. You've booked, scheduled rehearsals, done charts, maybe even rehearsed, maybe got some people come. Oh,
Don't talk about the relentless emails. I mean, the relentless stuff that you have to do. And it's not even about the music yet, you know, and you're fielding calls and you're begging people. You're like, hey, do this. Make sure you get your tickets, whatever. It's a great event. Then they'll come back. What do you have going on? Man, I gotta answer every question that you do.
every
Come
every
on.
every question, every
Right.
question. And you're at a point where it's like, hmm, how do you balance this? How do you still maintain the fact that you're an artist or musician, and but you've got all these other hats to wear? This is where the
Mhm.
dilemma, I was talking to Brian about this earlier, and I was trying to explain to him a little bit about why the takeoff of what I like to call the neighborhood band is so popular right now, because these guys don't play for a living, and they already have money, and they'll get their all their neighbors and their church members, and then their co-workers and relatives, and all these people will come out and pack the place. So the club is like, okay, man, cool, yeah, but then the music sucks. So, but they don't care about that. All they care about is trying to get people in the spot. So this is kind of where we are,
Yeah.
and it's a tricky place to be. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I definitely agree because not only is the performing watered down, the listening is watered down. You know, people come in, they'll talk about during things, they'll clap for everything. And I'm like, everything is great, everything is phenomenal, everything is like the best thing we've ever heard. And I'm like, are you listening to the same thing I'm listening? How's your listening?
Yep.
How's your listening?
Yep.
You know, so it's if everything's watered down and everything is exceptional, then nothing's exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
But when people hear the real deal, they're like, whoa, what is
Mm-hmm.
that?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like eating a sandwich in the city and then going out to the country somewhere and let your grandmother fix a sandwich for you out there. She made the bread, she got farm fresh eggs, all this kind of stuff. You're like, whoa, I never had anything like this before.
Right.
It was a difference. It's supposed to be the same ingredients, but everything's watered down, pasteurized, everything.
Yeah.
So when you hear the real deal, you feel it, you taste it, your
Right.
senses are engaged.
Right.
But I think we've been dulled and nullified with this fast food, quick response, press a button, get an answer, don't have to go to the library, Google is at my fingertips kind of world that we live in right now.
Well, I witnessed something last week. I was off from my normal Wednesday gig, so I was fortunate enough to get a call from my brother Robert Boone to sub for him over at the Red Light Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a session that has been going. Well, I mean, actually, we may have the
Pre-pandemic.
pre-pandemic. Why is that so hard to say? Pre-pandemic. Uh, and it's run by our great friend and mentor,
Mm-hmm.
Gordon Vernick, um, who runs
The
the
good
Georgia State
doctor.
Music,
The good doctor.
who will have you spending money on clothes and mortgaging your house before you know it if you ask him about where to go to buy stuff. But that's a whole nother question, a whole nother.
He got kickback from that
I
place,
had to
man.
leave him alone,
He
man.
got kickback. He got kickback from those places, man. I know it.
I had to leave him alone, bro. I had to leave him alone. I had to leave him alone. But anyway,
I saw Joe
so
Lovato with some new threads. I said, Joe, he said, man, Gordon hooked me up. I was like, yo.
anyway, we're gonna bring Gordon on shortly, and
Okay,
we're going to
cool.
talk about a few things. But I hadn't been there for because I've been playing Wednesday night for
Right.
over about a year and a half for with the Mike Veal band, and so I never get a chance to come out there. But I started hearing things. I started hearing things from you. I started hearing things from Gordon. I started hearing things from Robert, and an unusual phenomenon, right? What is so? I was thinking about this, like, what are some unusual phenomenon? So I'm going to have our great producer explain. Going to bring up a couple of things, and we're going to talk about some unusual phenomenons here, right?
Okay.
So, uh, in certain parts of the world, there may be like there's one thing that could happen in certain parts of the world and it doesn't happen anywhere else, and nobody can explain it. That's basically what an unusual phenomenon is, right? So we have frozen methane bubbles, Lake Abraham in Alberta, Canada. Like, this is under the ice, dude. Like, how do you even explain something like this?
Right.
Like,
Right.
so here's another thing in Gulf of, what is this? Carpentera, Terra,
Mm-hmm.
Queensland, Australia. We have this weird cloud-like formation. Just kind of looks like cotton or something, man. Like
Right above the ocean.
it happen. These things, like, it happens once a year, or
Mhm.
and you can't explain it, right? So we're not going to take you to history class too much. Here you got Sailing Stones, Death Valley, California. Like, these are what we call unusual phenomenons, right?
Right. Right.
So I get to Red Light Cafe last week, and I'm seeing people pile in to this place. Not only people, but young
Young
people.
people.
And you guys tried to warn me,
We
right?
tried to.
You tried to warn me. You're like, dude, you're not gonna believe it. I was
Right.
like, okay, So I'm trying to, like, we getting started and stuff, and I am my mind. I'm distracted. I'm like, I can't concentrate because we've got young couples coming in for date night. We've got people coming in that have pre-bought tickets for the evening to get a seat to watch. And we're talking about, these are all under 30 people. This is like,
Yeah.
you know, there's no 60 and over here,
Yeah.
This is all like young, I guess what you could also maybe label as kind of the hipster crowd. I'm like, they're coming in to hear jazz? Like, what the?
And you're mentioning only one phenomenon.
Okay.
The other phenomenon is the seriousness of the music.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna
I
get
mean,
to that. Yeah.
you have unusual phenomenon
Yeah.
if it's singular, but
Yeah.
there's a
No.
couple of different ones going on.
It's
Too.
no. That's
Yeah,
there's a few different ones.
Right.
So, but I'm trying to play, and I'm like, I'm completely distracted. I'm like, some hip arrangement of a tune is we're starting with. I've never heard it before, but they just throw it at me. Oh man, you'll hear it. Man, it's super hip. It's got this McCoy kind of thing, McCoy Tyner, Elvin Jones kind of thing going on. It's got some hits in it and stuff, man. I'm trying to, like, watch, and I'm seeing these people coming. I'm like, where am I right now? I'm like, man, this is so crazy. So the night just keeps on going, and people are coming in. They're at capacity. Now, I later found out that there's usually a line out the door. There's usually people waiting, but they were still at capacity for the club at Red Light. So I go home and they have a live stream. Imagine that. I'm like, man, this looks great. What kind of camera they got? Man, the cat's got an iPhone up there, just a regular iPhone, man. He's back there mixing his brains out. It sounds great. Paying attention. He got headphones on. I'm like,
Mhm.
a little effort, man. That's all we. That's like they're making an effort. They're making
Shout
it.
out to Michael Chamberlain.
You
Yeah.
know, we're gonna talk about the music when we bring our guest on, but shout out to Michael Chamberlain, man, for
Yeah.
hanging in there and
Yeah.
saying, you know what, we don't care if there's 5 people here or 500 people. This is gonna at some point, something's gonna happen. We're
You
just
mean
gonna stick with it.
you're not going to do a disco night on Wednesdays after that?
Tell me about it, bro. Tell me
Yeah.
about it. We're gonna talk about all that too.
You're
The
not going
flip
to do a
flopping,
sipping wine painting thing on that? You're not
man,
going to do that?
dude. So listen, without further ado, we're gonna bring in the leader of I by far the top session in Atlanta.
Might as well say it.
Our
Might
brother
as well.
Gordon Vernick. What's going on, GV?
Hot.
It's so nice to be here with my dear friends Chris and Big T. Um, you know, it's just wonderful, and to hear those kind words you're saying about this session that we've been running at the red light. This has been going on for about 10 years, and 10 years ago, if we had 25 people in there, we were doing pretty good. And I didn't pay myself; I was just paying the musicians so they would, let me get a little taste. I'm a full-time employee of Georgia State, so for me, it's a labor of love. Um, but I can barely believe it every Wednesday night when we play there, the amount of people that are coming in and the demographic of the people that are coming in. It's black, it's white, it's Asian, it's mostly young, kind of hipsterish. But there's some reasons for this, and it's just because we've been at it for so long, and we just wouldn't give up. The streaming, obviously, pandemic was a low point, and I asked all the guys in the band at that point. It was Delbert, Felix, and Kevin, and I believe Che Marshall was playing. Marlon Patton was also part of that mix. And we said, do we want to play or do we want to not play? And everybody said, we want to play. So we started playing. It was not a soul in there. It was really weird. And we would stream it. This started in probably March of 20. And it went on that way until they let people come in, which was maybe 6 or 7 months later, and slowly. And it was up and down. The bands were great. I was using great musicians. It was Ty. It was Kevin Bales, Louis Harivo, or whoever was available. Neil Starkey, Craig Shaw, Delbert, and it was always a wonderful mix of musicians, and it was therapeutic for us.
Yeah.
And then I would say about 18 months ago, something started to happen, and I can't quite put my finger on it. All of a sudden, people are showing up, and these are not people my age. It was a demographic that was showing up that was between 20 and say 30 years old. Black, white, Asian. It was I can't explain. And they started showing up. But what I think that they realized, and these are not musicians themselves, what they realize that there's something very special happening when there's magic on the stage. Whether it's Ty or Kevin or Robert or you, Chris, last week, we had some magic moments. The people, they shut up and they're like entranced because they know that this is very special. They don't understand chord progressions, the songs, but when magic happens, people realize that and they pay attention, and it's really amazing. And this about a year ago, it started to be standing room only, and 6 months ago, there were people waiting outside the inn, and I was asked, you know. I feel like I'm kind of like the host, but it's the Chamberlains. It's a combination of musicians, me, the venue, the parking, and the proximity to Georgia Tech, to Georgia State, to Clark Atlanta. Be a lot of Morehouse kids. We get Emory kids, and it's word of mouth. And they say there's something magical happen, and I don't know these people. And then, of course, great musicians start to show up. I think it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we had 4 or 5 of some of the finest saxophone players I've ever heard on the stage. Drummers that were just killing it. Keyboard players, bass players, trumpet players, and I tried to keep a very high level. Like a lot of young musicians will come in and say, I want to play. And so I got to ask them 50 questions. You know, some songs, where do you go to school, who you're studying with? Because what the last thing I want is for someone to come up and have a negative experience and just kind of bring the whole level down. It's not an open mic. Last week, a young woman and her, I think her boyfriend came in and they asked if it was open mic night. And I said, no, this is not an open mic. This is a jam session where people get up and we expect a certain level of expertise. I said, check out what we're doing. If you think you want to get up on the stage, you're more than welcome. And of course, you know, they were like, I don't think so.
Well,
So,
listen, man. Well, let me just say one thing while I talk my brain, in relation to, man, you're talking about 10 years. Okay. We were part of this thing, Gordon, and let's just be transparent. You couldn't get us to come over there half the time to play in the early stages of the session because there was nobody there. There was very little money. The play, you know, it was like, man, I don't want to go over for however long this on a Wednesday and do this for that kind of money, and there's nobody there. But you are the one, man. Let's just call it what you hung in there, dude. You were like, I'm just gonna keep this thing going. I don't know how. Sooner or later, actually, the pandemic, I feel like, was obviously it was a terrible thing. But through that, there was a bond that kind of happened with the musicians, with you, and I think with the club, because there wasn't anything going on at that time. So you guys streaming that out, I can't emphasize this. I don't know why clubs don't do this more. It doesn't take any money to stream.
no,
your
it's very
event.
easy to do. Two
And
cameras.
you doing that it got some eyes on you. It got some eyes on what was happening, man. And I feel like that was a really important part of the process and of the springboard to kind of take it where it's going on now. I just want to say it while I was thinking about that.
That is very, very important. That we started streaming before other places. Nobody else was doing this. And Michael said we need to do this, and we just kept at it. And I was like, whatever you think is proper, go ahead and do it. I don't really care. For me, Wednesday night is a therapy night, and I try to keep the music musicians. I hire the guys who are I have incredible respect for. They're very creative people, and I never ever tell anybody what to do or how to play. And that's what I let guys go. You know, Ty comes in and brings his thing. Bales brings his thing. KB Jr. brings his thing. Louis Harivo, whoever comes in and plays, I let them bring their thing. And the drummers, you know, Boone is amazing. You're amazing. And bass players, you know, Neil Starkey, who's, you know, my God, he's just a legend. But I let the musicians establish what they want to play and how they want to play, and I go along with it. And then when it's time for me to step down, and I bring up other musicians and hopefully let the magic create itself. You know, with whether it's Tia Ricks or you know, Rita Graham or Audrey Shakir or Lava High or who's the other wonderful young singer who comes in occasionally, Melody Fort. I try to keep that level high. So if young singers come in and I say, here, check this out. This is what I expect. And then there's some very good young singers that I didn't even know that come up, and I'm like, yes, absolutely. I try to encourage young talent all the time. But if you're not ready, I'll let you know in as kind a manner as I can. And you know, and Ty knows about my kind manner. I'll say you need to think about this, or this before you get up. Make sure you check out these recordings and learn these songs, because if you were in New York, they wouldn't be nearly as nice. So I try to create that kind of environment.
No advice. No advice.
Where other sessions in town, they just let people get up and play, and I love what they do. But I'm not going to do that because it brings the whole level down, and it brings the vibe down, brings the energy down, and the audience they don't, they're not, the most jazz savvy people, on the planet, but they know when things are working, when they're not. And when they're not, I can just see it, and I'm like, we need to make a change, get some other musicians up here, and just move, get some other people up here so that we can keep the level high. And it's really hard to do that when a session starts at 9 and doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dog. She's barking. It doesn't stop until midnight. We go nonstop, and I keep rotating musicians in and out. Sometimes Ty will be there for an hour and 20 minutes. Then there's a couple of young pianists that'll light up, and they're just killing it. And of course, we encourage them, and we say, "Please come back." Um, it's it's very organic, and what I think is that kids tell the audience there, they tell their friends. A lot of it is word of mouth, a lot of it is TikTok, a lot of it is Instagram, Facebook, and of course there's other platforms, and the streaming also really helps. I have friends that can't be there, and they tell me, I saw the session last night. I have friends in Europe and Asia, South Africa, and they watch the sessions. So
Yeah.
we have a nice international, national following just from people who are watching these streams. I don't know why other clubs don't do this, because it's an amazing way to develop an audience and to grow. We call it, we talk about audience acquisition and audience retention, and we didn't set out to do this, but we are just knocking it out of the ballpark, and I can't explain it, so we're not going to touch it. It's like if it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
don't fix it. Don't try to mess around with it.
Doc, let me ask you a question. You've had many guest artists come, serious musicians that come from out of town. Like Marshall Gilks was the last one I was there. What do they say about it when they get there?
They're amazed. I always, I build into an artist's schedule. I say, we're going to go to the Red Light Cafe. They're like, what is that? It's a little session that I run every Wednesday night, and they're usually like, well, I don't think I want to do that. And then once they hear the rhythm section playing, they're like, yeah, get the horn out. I've had Marshall Gilks. I've had Randy Brecker, H.N. Charles, Kenny Werner, Paquito de Rivera, Randy Brecker. I mean, just unbelievable keyboard players, drummers. I brought Jeff Tane Watson. Tane stayed the whole night and played and had a ball, because it was a good bass player. I had a very good keyboard player, and we just had a ball. So most of them will say, well, I don't think I want to do that, because they understand what a local jam session could be. I said, this is not a local jam session. These are world-class musicians who are house musicians, and I try to keep it at a very high level. And when people know that Jeff Watts is going to be there, every good drummer in town is there, and they all get a chance to play and hang out with him, and just it's like a little bit of Smalls, but without that, the really heavy attitude.
But that's what we want. We want it's a reciprocal thing, because we love those great national artists to come in, but we also want to show them, hey, we got a little something happening here too. We want y'all to know,
That's right.
But you can't go to these other sessions and sell them on that. You got, without having a conversation. Look, when you go in, you gonna get the first 3 songs, get those out the way. Then you can go home after that. You don't have to have a conversation with this situation.
No, I've had one of the nicest comments I got from a world-class artist. He said, your rhythm section's really effing good. These guys can play.
Right.
And he said to me, and it was a wonderful comment. I said, and you talk the talk, but you can walk the walk, and that's very important as a person who is a jazz educator, because we lead by example. So for me, that was an incredible compliment, and I took that to heart, and it just reinforced.
We all met you on the bandstand, Doc, before we met you at the university, and that's important, because some people we only meet at the university and never on the bandstand.
We meet because jazz music is always a trial by fire.
Right.
It's always been a very kind of a physical, gladiatorial kind of music. And music is whether it's orchestral or jazz or rock or pop, but jazz especially because of the jam session and the history of the cutting contest going back to Kansas City and Chicago. It's like either you can play or you can't. I remember my dad was a professional musician in New York City, and he would always say either you can play or you can't. And so his term, what he would always just say about, what do you think about this such and such a saxophone player, trumpet player, bass player? And he would always say, man, that guy's got it trapped. He's got it trapped. And I always look for musicians who have it trapped, whether the people I surround myself with or my young colleagues. And we have Ty. We got some young colleagues. A couple of weeks ago, Ty was there, and you had all your young pianists from Kennesaw, and you were sitting right next to him, and you were like, don't do that. But I was watching that, and those kids responded, and they sounded great. So that's the future. So we're also, not only we having a fun time, and the musicians are making way more money than they would make at any jam session anywhere. But we're also helping to train the next generation. So we're mentoring these young musicians, and there's a couple of young guys, high school and college age musicians that are, I mean, these guys are really good players. Blake Dwelly came in last week, young. I think just finished his freshman year at FSU. Went through our RIJO, our jazz program at Georgia State for high school kids, and he's killing it. He sounded wonderful.
I just as you're talking, I had to pull Blake outside though, and he. Not this, just as and this is again a testament to those who want it, right? Those who are hungry, those who want it. Is when we were playing, I can't remember what tune we were
Invitation.
Invitation. And it was like, I was like, man, who's comping, me or you? Who's playing the rhythm, me or you? Right? He was so excited to play his stuff that the listening part of what's happening with the drums, what's happening to all this. So long story short, I pulled him outside and we just had a conversation, man. And he not only took it, but was like, man, thank you. These are the things that, because you can, Tyrone and I always talk about, you're going to have to, what you really are there for, and the only place you're going to really learn is on the bandstand. That's where you're going to learn the most. The practice room is one thing, but what you apply on the bandstand,
well, you can't get everything in a 50-minute lesson.
You can't.
No.
And as a teacher, we encourage our students to go out, but one thing I really love about Doc is he puts those students in a situation where they can learn from the people on the instruments, and I remember get my master's there. We had binders for our instruments that we compiled. Then Doc would say, pass it around so other people can see. You don't play trombone, so you need to see what the trombone players are doing. So I really appreciate it about Doc, but it's the same thing at the session. How are you going to know what is competing rhythms if you don't talk to the drummer? Right. I don't have enough time in the day to give you that. I'm still trying to work on voicings and stuff. I'm trying to work on 2-5-1s.
And that's not your job.
Well, you can't catch it. It's impossible to catch it.
Well, you try to if you see someone who is struggling, who is really just they're kind of sinking as opposed to swimming, you could say a few things like, I'll say to a drummer, I say, why don't you play like your hair is on fire? And then you're looking for a bucket of water and you stick your head in a can of gasoline. And how would you be playing then? You'd be playing with a lot of energy because you'd be looking for a bucket of water. That's how I use these horrible analogies. But the point is,
you use the turd buffet. What about the turd buffet?
That's one of our secrets. Why would you go back for seconds? If something's not working, obviously you need to make a change. Yeah. But obviously, you took the time to speak with Blake, and most young musicians they're looking for that information. And I've never had a student or someone there who was not receptive, and they always say, well, what did you think? And I'll say, oh, I said, I'm a teacher, so I'll say, you really want my honest opinion, or do you want me just to say that you played great? And most
Right.
of the time they say, I need help. And I'll say, well, you need to be working on this, transcribing this, listening to this, working on these exercises, learning these songs, listening to these recordings, learning these tunes. And then hopefully they'll come back in 2 or 3 weeks, say, I learned that tune and I learned so and so solo on it, and I'm going to play that solo tonight on that tune. I was like, okay, very good. Now, what did you learn from that? Can you extract some ideas that you can turn into your own language? That turns into a whole other thing. But
let's talk. Let's just talk about the transformation from Gordon, the first, what do you want to say, 4 years of the session, to the next couple going through the pandemic, and then what you kind of have now, man. I mean, it's been an incredible I'm
turn around.
I can't believe it, man. I mean, I'm still a little bit in awe. I was in shock for 2 days. I was just like,
so we told you. We told you.
I know you told me, but
you weren't ready for it. And there were people staying out. They couldn't let them in. And these are kids. Well, not kids, as old as I am. Anybody who's under their 50s is a kid. But they were quite young. And I think it's just a matter of staying with it, and the Chamberlains being willing to support what we did. Now, Ellen's father is a great supporter. He's an older fella, and he saw that keyboard players were having to drag in keyboards, and it was kind of a pain. And he went out and he bought 2 really, really good keyboards, so that when Ty or whoever it is shows up, there's a good instrument set up with a good sound system. There's a bass amp there. There's a guitar amp. The only person who has to bring in anything is the drummer. So I wanted to make it so that it was more user friendly, because people are like, so I got to bring a keyboard. It's like, and the keyboard's not an acoustic piano, but if you have a decent keyboard, it mitigates the fact that there's not a Steinway, grand piano there, which is never going to happen in a place like that. So we made sure that there would be, it would be easy. There's parking there, and it's a $10 cover charge is nothing. Of course, you go to Starbucks and get a cup of coffee and a scone, that's going to be $12. So
that's another thing that's important, though, Gordon, is that they're charging something. It's not free.
Yeah, there's value added to that.
When everything, and I look, I get it. We've all done people, but when free is attached to music, man, it has been, in my opinion, an absolute disaster. Everything that has happened that's free, even streaming, it's like, I mean, is it great that we have anything at our fingertips that we want to hear from anybody's catalog? Probably not. I mean, we do it because it's there, but that saving your money to go buy that album down the street had a completely different effect on your brain than, I'm just going to go download this cat's music and I can listen to whatever I want. So that's, I mean, $10, man,
it's nothing.
And people are paying they're buying tickets ahead of time, man. I was listening. That was another, I was thrown off because the woman has these who's bought tickets ahead of time, and it's organized and people are there to get a seat. I'm like,
you couldn't even play, bro.
I couldn't, man.
I was like, everything.
I told you. I said, you're not gonna believe what's going on there. Because people, and so it starts out. There's a couple people there, and we kind of get warmed up. We play, we do a set with just the quartet, just to kind of get warmed up. Then I start inviting people up to have some fun. But I'm always watching the door to see who's coming in. Have I seen these people before? If I haven't seen them, I always make it my job to say, hey, how you doing? How'd you find out about this place? I'm so glad that you're here. And that's an important part of the the experience, because now I got kids who come and they say, "Hey Doc, man, how you doing? We were here last week. I brought my brother, my parents are here." And
Right.
it turned into this whole vibe. And I can be abrasive if anything. But I look at these people that are coming here. I was like, how'd you find out about this place? Did you enjoy the music? Make sure you tell your friends about it. So I'm very curious. And Michael and Ellen and I talk about this all the time, and we just we can't quite figure it out. But we say, let's leave it alone, because eventually it'll probably run its course, like all wonderful things will. But we put in the time, and we're reaping the rewards of just staying with it and keeping the level of music high, and just bringing in, like, I hire the best musicians that we can possibly find in the city, and keep the music at a very high level. And sometimes, people say, well, you're not being inclusive. I said, if you're not ready to hang with the big dogs, then just sit there and listen. There's no rule that says just because you go to a jam session you have to play. In fact, it's probably best that you don't. Just sit there and check it out. Say, I have older friends who come in. They say they'll keep a list of all the songs that we play, and the next week they'll come back and say, I like that tune. I'd like to play this song. Fantastic.
You ever felt the pressure to change that rule or bend that rule because of before it was getting packed? Like, you never had the pressure. You never like. Okay.
No. And I've gotten some Yelp reviews say, Gordon Vernick is bad. I got a couple that I won't share. I can share with you off camera.
Not the Yelp, bro. Not the Yelp. Yelp got you.
They were just horrendous. But I have students, they do this thing called Rate Your Professor, and I've been ripped and raked over the coals. And I always tell students who never, the first time in their class, I say, you check out Rate Your Professor? And they kind of go like this. They raise their hand. I go, whatever you've seen in there is true. So you can drop the class right now. I say that. But they know that I'm being facetious, but I'm also being very honest, because with music, you can't sugar. If you can't play, you can't play. If you don't belong on the bandstand, because I got my ass chewed when I was a kid because I was unprepared. I thought I was, and I've had people say in a very, no uncertain terms, but in a very helpful way, that you can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to be better prepared. You have to know these things before you get on the bandstand with me, because this is like, it's like playing baseball. You see the professionals who go, I think I'd like to play outfield. No, you just sit in the bleachers and watch the game.
I had an
experience. And go practice with your friends.
Yeah, on Wednesday I was, after I played a few tunes, I was walking to the back of the club, and somebody, young kid stopped me, and he said, hey man, I just want to let you know that I just learned so much, man, by watching you right now. I just learned so much. And I was like, where am I again? Where am I right now? Like, so I said, oh, well, thanks, man. I said, you drummer, obviously the drummer. He's like, oh yeah, man. It's like, I play around town and playing a couple different bands and da 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 da. I was like, oh, so of course I'm like, oh man, you gonna sit in? He goes, no way.
No way.
He's like,
so,
nah.
One of the nicest things is a surprise. There was a young kid he was very, very soft spoken. He says, I play the drums and I would like to play. And so I get this all the time. And I go, what's your name? He says, Kevin. So I forgot about him. And then finally around 11 o'clock, he said, I'd like to play. I said, where are you from? He's from San Juan. And the kid sat down, and I don't know if you heard, he was killing it.
Yeah.
And I said, you make sure you come back next week. He came back last week, and he was
great kid, man. Yeah,
he was killing it again. And he went back to San Juan. I said, are you thinking about going to school? He says, I'm going to school somewhere in Switzerland. I said, that's kind of expensive. I said, you can come to Georgia State University. So it's also a way for recruiting. And so I said, you played really well. So it's also an opportunity to say that Atlanta has a lot to offer Georgia State, and then of course Kennesaw has a lot to offer. You can go study with Gary Motley over at Emory. And Gary comes in occasionally, and he doesn't come out very often to sessions. And he was here a couple of weeks ago and just murdered it in a very musical way. He sounded great.
And listen, I hadn't seen Gary in years. And Gary paid me a compliment. He's like, man, Tyrone, you sound great, man. He said, was all that necessary? Did you have to do all of that on the keyboard? I was like, man, I had to because I know you were coming up next. And he just laughed. But it was great to see him out. He doesn't even come out.
So, Tyrone, let's talk a little bit. So, we had Gordon, I don't remember if you came over to this, but we were doing a session over in Decatur at a place called the Apple House, which was
right down the street from Sam's Place, Bird and Brew.
Yeah, right there where Community Barbecue is. It's pretty much right next door. Sam, he was, he had started to curate this thing, and we got that thing cooking. And it was all just a similar situation. All the cats that were not coming out were now coming out. And they were like, oh man, this is cool. Okay, because it's nothing but cats. And unfortunately the Apple House, it was short-lived, but that was the last time that I felt that type of experience at a jam. I felt like we had that at Twain's a little bit,
Oh yeah, Twain's was fantastic.
When we first started, it was, man, it was really and you got a lot of that same thing. It was like you would ask people, "Hell, you gonna sit in there?" Like, no, I'm good, But just through the nature of what has happened everywhere, it's not just here; it's everywhere. All of a sudden, the open mic becomes a thing that clubs and venues use in order to try to get a packed night of, patrons. So open mic has sort of become the epidemic, and the jam session has sort of been pushed to the side, and is rarely held in the type of I don't even want to call it restraints, but just the type of like the level that you keep it at, the level that we used to have it at Twain's or at the Apple House, where it's like, sometimes it's not good to sit it. Sometimes you just want to listen, and there's a lot to be learned from especially from a young cat, just listening and checking things out and asking questions. But another question I had for you, and this is something that we've all sort of been fighting, as Tyrone and I were just talking about this a little bit, is the relationship between the artist and the venue, man, is super, super important that you both in this together. And this is, again, what has happened at the Red Light is you guys are in this together. It's not, why aren't you bringing people? Well, last week was busier than this week. What's going on? It's like all of these, man, no artist can operate in a positive way under those type of circumstances.
No, we have a wonderful, as like a family relationship. And because of my relationship with the Chamberlains, because they took a chance, because they weren't doing great. And Wednesday nights have turned into a huge money night for them. And because of that, there have been spin-offs. We've been doing recitals there with some of my students. Ty, you got something going on there. Vinny D'Agostino does stuff. So some other nights of the week could be a Sunday or a Monday or a Thursday or a Friday. There's other jazz events in addition to all the singer-songwriter, comedy, magic, burlesque, whatever they happen to be doing there. So my relationship with them, we're friends, but they're running a business and I'm trying to help them, but they also understand the value. and appreciate the value. And that's the thing. That's why I always like working for Sam Yee. He appreciates the value. He's not just some guy who's just trying to get people in there to make a buck. They understand. Like when we have a set, and the band is killing it, and there's magic on the stand. I'll be, getting the drink at the bar or something, and Michael's will look over and he said that was magic. What just happened on that bandstand was amazing. Now, that doesn't happen very often. That never happened at Twain's. It would happen at Churchill Grounds, but Sam was too busy running the bar. The owner is back there doing the sound. So he hears everything that we're doing. And he knows. And I just had no idea when we started there. I think it was in 2000, late 2014, early 15, that this would bloom into, because I've been doing sessions at places all over Atlanta for years, and I had some really good club owners, but were not very good business people, and they didn't really know how to monetize or advertise what we were doing. And we don't do any advertisement. I mean, seriously, there's no advertisement. I do like a Facebook thing because I feel like I should, or Instagram, and then I tag people, and then but this is very organic, and I think that's the best way. People are inundated with emails, and Facebook is no longer very effective. I think Instagram is maybe a little more effective. Then TikTok has been very helpful because people are sending snippets and they're posting those things. And I just do what I can do, and I just leave it. Like when I tag Ty, he'll tag some other people, or let's say you need to check this out. But we have now, there's a reputation. People know that if you want to come and hear some good music at a high level, and if you're interested in sitting in it, and so we're getting musicians from all over the country, actually all over the world, who are, if they're in town on a Wednesday after they play a show at the Fox or some other place, they come to the not the Reality. They come to the
Red Light Cafe.
Red Light Cafe, and they just say, I just did a show, so and so. I say, hey man, you got your horn? Yeah, man. You want to play? Absolutely. So they hear a couple of tunes. I say, come on, let's go, let's do this. I heard an alto player who came up from Florida. He was a friend of a friend of a friend. He came in, he heard about the session, and this guy was killing it. So I kept him up there for at least 3 or 4 tunes, and then he'll tell someone else and tell someone else. So someone from Florida or New York or Chicago comes through, and they say they're going to come and check out the Red Light Cafe.
So Doc, there's something that Takana mentioned when she came out. It was like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks
ago? 3 or 4 weeks ago she was there.
So when did she study with you at Georgia State?
She was there probably 2002, 3, somewhere between 2001 and 2003-ish.
So this is what she said to me. I wasn't playing. I can't remember who was playing. Maybe Kevin was up there playing. And she leans over to me. She says, Doc sounds wonderful. She's like, I don't remember him sounding like this when I was in school. So part of the session, I watch you, and it's really cool to see you get to experimental mode and go. I know that your guys like Bix Beiderbecke and Blue Mitchell and all those kind of guys, but you have now crossed over into the other realm, into the creativity of like a Kenny Banks Jr. and all, and Kevin Bales when he reharmonizes on the spot, and myself. You have gotten up a couple of notches too. What kind of aspect is that for you as far as playing?
That's funny you should mention that. As musicians, we kind of get caught into habits. We play certain kind of songs a certain way, but when you surround yourself with musicians who constantly push you, like you'll reharmonize something. It's like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. Or I'll say, Ty, set this up, and then you'll reharmonize the song completely, and that forces me out of my old habits into new creative habits, I would say. Bales is really good at doing that. Kenny Banks Jr. you never know what he's going to do. So people say, well, I don't like to play with pianists because I don't know what they're going to do. Then my answer to them is like, what's wrong with you? This music should always push you into,
Right.
you're gonna fall on your face, you're gonna miss a chord change, but it forces you to out of your comfort
Comfort zone.
zone.
Right. That's right.
And that's a problem that a lot of musicians have. They stay there. Like, I love Blue Mitchell, but
Right.
when you do certain things, it's like, I need to be more in a kind of a Tom Harrell, um, the more, a more modern kind of a
Right.
language. And that's true. My playing, and I'm not going to lie, has improved,
Mine
in
too,
terms
from
of
doing the session.
in terms of harmony and
Yeah.
melody. And I've been writing compositions, and I just never did that. Like, in the early 90s, I was kind of in this club date mode where you just play the song, and you play play an A section, and then maybe occasionally you play a jazz gig. But now I don't do those kinds of gigs anymore. I only play jazz gigs. And even if I'm playing with a duo or a trio, we're playing like kind of background music. We're not playing for the audience so much as we're playing for ourselves. So if you and I are doing something and you go off, it's like, I'm right there with you. I am not going to
Yeah.
be,
And we're
I
doing
get
your
caught up.
tunes too. We're doing your originals, Destination, all of those tracks, man. It's really cool that you could, I mean, you write those tunes, but you want to express it, right? You want to play it. When do
Right.
you get a chance to play it? You know?
Yeah, you have to have your own situation where you can do your own material. So
Right.
I always try to do maybe one or two original or just kind of unusual pieces that get me out of my comfort zone. It also changes the way I practice and what I practice.
Right.
So it's affected everything about my routine, because if you practice the same things the same way every day, you're caught in a kind of a like a what they call like a hamster wheel, and you
Right.
want to be able to get off that wheel and experiment and listen to other people doing things. So that's why I like, playing with these wonderful keyboard players. And then of course Neil catches it, and then you're playing
Right.
with a drummer like Chris or Adam Henley or Boone. Or when Marlon Patton was there, I got to play with Marlon last
Yeah.
week in Lincoln Center, and those guys, man, they catch everything. Nothing
Right.
gets by them. And so you can't be asleep for a second. And it's not exhausting, but it's exhilarating
It is.
Yeah,
to
Yeah.
it
be in
gives
that
you
situation.
and it gives you something to work towards, right? Like during you have something to look forward to. You have something to prepare for. You have something that that's the only way you're going to get better, and that's the only way that you have to get stretched. You have to continue to stretch yourself and
Mhm.
want to be stretched.
Yeah. You can't
That's
drive
the
a sports car at 65 miles an hour. When the sports car is like, come on, let's go to 120. We got to get there.
why
That's
did you
what
buy me? Why
right.
did
That's
you
what I'm
buy
built
me?
for. Right. Right.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of what you've created, what you've hung in there for, man. I'm so happy for you because it's, you've given so much to just, that we're talking about years and years of developing kids, people for their own
Mhm.
good, right? And it's time you get a little get back, man. You need a little something that's going to get you where you want to go. And I'm just happy that you I guess the biggest
Take away.
lesson from take away from this is kind of like what we're trying to do with this show. It's like, yeah, we may only have 5 people or one person at sometimes or what have, but if you believe in something, you have to stick with it.
You have to stay with it.
You can't keep flip-flopping. Tyron, when you were talking about, oh man, we're gonna do disco night because this isn't working. Well, okay, that's not gonna work out either because you're not gonna give that a chance to develop into anything.
Right.
You have to stick with something. And look, whether it lasts for another week or another 10 years is not the that doesn't matter, man. It's that you've captured at this point a nice chunk of time where you're going to have people that remember where they were with, oh man, you remember we used to go to that red light, man. Yeah, that was, and when I'm seeing these kids come in as couples and stuff, they're going to remember all this stuff. Oh, we people might have met there or gone on their first date, or that was their first opportunity to sit in with Heavy Cats, or you picked up, somebody that was looking to go to a school and you were there to help them. I mean, there's a lot that's coming out
Yeah,
of this.
there's a lot of different levels of things that are happening there, and
Community service.
one of the nicest things is when I hear like students or former students, I would think of everybody as my kids. And when I hear them, like they're like, I didn't hear that last week, I didn't hear that a month ago, and all of a sudden I hear something coming out of someone's horn. I was like, that's good. One of the funniest things, and it's just really telling. Years ago, I played a concert with Joe Granston at a nice venue, and a guy came up to me and he said, "Do you still play better than Joe?" And I said, "If I played better than Joe, which I don't," I said, "then I would be a very bad teacher." I said, no, he plays way better than me. And that's the goal of every teacher, is to have their students, um, you know, go way beyond what you have shown them, so they can develop a language and a style of their own, and can keep on developing as musicians. And so when I hear kids, it's like, they're like, all of a sudden it's like, yep. Yep, I hear that. That's fantastic. And I'm very, trumpet players are very competitive. I'll get out of the bandstand with anybody and try to, one up them. But that's trumpet playing. But it is such a thrill for me, and that's a legacy that, long after we're gone, those people will still be playing their instruments.
Yeah, I had a former student of mine that you also well know went to Georgia State, Xavier Gordon, and I went to see him with Marcus Miller, right? He got me a ticket, $100 ticket. The parking was like 25. He wanted me in the building, right? He's like, "Hey man, I just want you to see, what I've learned from you stuff." And he did that gig. And after it was over with, you know what I told him, Doc? I said, "There's no way I could do this gig." I said, "I'm so proud of you right now, what you have accomplished and what you continue to accomplish." I said, "Nothing brings me more joy as a teacher to see you doing this,
Absolutely.
doing something I can't do." I played with Marcus Miller. I was like, "Oh, I can't do this gig." You know what I'm saying? I can't. So it was really good. And you know how Xavier was just a great student. He was
He was a
there when I
wonderful
was there for
student.
my master. Yeah.
Yeah, and he came to me, and he had a lot of skills, growing up, learning how to play in the church, and the jazz language kind of came to him secondarily. But he worked hard, and he also developed as a wonderful vocalist. I had no idea he was a really talented vocalist.
Right.
Yeah, man.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, Gordon. Well, thank you we're going to kind of wrap it there with you, and just
Well,
want to, acknowledge. And if you guys haven't checked it out yet, every Wednesday night at
Who's
Red
at
Light.
Red Light tomorrow?
let's see, it's Joel Powell. Neil's out of town, so Joel is playing, Boone and Bales. So if you guys are free, well, no one is ever free. That's kind of a rhetorical statement. But please come by and hang out with us, because it's turned into a family affair. If that's as corny as that sounds, I see my these young musicians or colleagues. It's just like family. It's like, I'm so happy to see you, and we share the bandstand and this fraternity that we have, which is so magical. So I invite everybody to come out and hang with us.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, get over to Red Light, and you probably got to buy tickets in advance. Letting you know now. Get over there. The session is from 9 to 11:30 ish, midnight-ish. Yeah. And it's a great experience. There's great drinks, and just a lot to take in there in terms of just hanging out with cool people and being around great music. But if you want to get a seat, buy a ticket in advance. I'm telling you right now. Definitely.
Come on out, get a piece.
Well, I want to thank you guys for giving me an opportunity to pontificate again, and I hope to see you really soon, sooner than later. And you all take care now.
Okay, Gordon. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, man.
All right.
Thanks. All right.
Yeah, man.
Man, I'm still in shock, man.
I
Still,
know you
still
are,
in
bro.
it's
Me and Doc was like, we tried to tell you. And as soon as you got on there, I just stared at you the whole time we was playing. I was like, wait till we hit him. And that's what Doc said. I forgot the name of the tune. It's not When You're Smiling, it's like it's in the F. So he's like, hey, let's do this song. I said, our version, which is really
oh, it was a
roughly,
happy, wasn't it? Was it happy?
oh yeah. Da, 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 happy. Da, 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 da.
That's what
What's
we
the name of it?
started with.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't remember none of that. I was like,
Yeah,
not from because I'd never played before, of course, but in terms of playing it, because my
yeah.
brain was like still trying to process like
But I
all the other
said, if you
stuff.
remember, I said our version or the regular
Right,
thing.
right,
He's like,
right.
no, ours, like that,
Yeah,
right? So I said,
yeah.
okay, we about to hit him. We're about to hit him with some Elvin Jones on the first tune, right?
But again, man, so you remember what you told me about that gig? You remember that gig we did at the park a while back where
Yes, I can't forget it.
and same thing. Man, no, we
Yeah,
gonna do what we here to do.
right,
Like
right.
he'll figure it out. Let's go. You know?
Yeah,
And
I'm so appreciative that you said that. It taught me a lesson
it's
because we
just
could have played the other
man.
stuff and we've been successful at it, but you're like, man, nah, we
But
here to do this.
we would have walked out of there, bro, feeling so low, man.
Right,
Like
right, right.
because you can't, man. You gotta and again, what happened? People are gonna respond
Yeah,
to the real, man. I don't care what it is. People
right.
are going to respond to what is good, you
Yeah.
know,
It might
and
take him some time,
might take them some time, but you'd be surprised how many people actually want to be taken on a journey that,
but dude, how
whoa,
long is it taking you to play roles and where nobody's looking at you, practicing on a pillow, practicing on a practice pad to get an
mm,
even stroke roll,
still working on it.
right? How many cats work on long tones so they could get a
Still,
good sound?
man,
How
I
many
remember,
times I've
man,
still played 2-5-1s and place hand and exercises, all these exercises that people know nothing about that you're doing.
right.
So it can't be a microwave situation to get as good as we are and get as good on that level, you know?
You still, but that's what keeps us hungry, so to speak, you know,
Right,
keeping that edge, you know. So,
right.
but yeah, man, and I wanted to bring up, you know, because one of my students who was at our session last night, and he's been avoiding red light
Mm,
because
yeah.
oh, they call hard tunes over there. I'm like, well,
Right,
what? I mean, you, what do you want?
right,
Is this what you want to do, or is this not what you want to do? You got to make a
right,
decision, you
right.
know. Oh, but you know, look, man, yeah, you're not gonna know it. You're gonna struggle through it, but you know what?
You
You're
will.
still, yeah. You just, man, you do the best you can. They're gonna recognize your talent.
Yeah.
Now, if that tune gets called again and you don't know it, you got a problem. But go home and learn the freaking song.
Man, I'll give
Nobody
you a
can know
perfect
every
example.
tune,
I had a
huh?
I have a perfect example. I had a student get up there. It was a fast rhythm section, the rhythm changes, right?
Okay.
And I gotta admit, out of all of the piano players there, he got up and went on it, right? So he played like this little single line thing. So as soon as he came off there, Dr. Vernick said, you know, that was very smart what you did, right? So he had a smile on his face. He said,
Right.
don't smile too hard because if you come back and try to do the same thing next week, he's gonna call
Exactly.
you on it. You're gonna have to now
Exactly.
learn some vocabulary.
Exactly. I've
You're
heard
smart in
that.
that moment.
What else you got?
Yeah,
That's right.
right,
You know,
exactly.
but that's what you want, man.
Yeah, yeah,
You want to, because that's when somebody cares about you.
right.
You remember when our
Yes,
parents used to tell us that all the time? Like, we get it, man, from the neighbors, the teachers,
yes.
the coach, like everybody giving. It's like, well, if they didn't care and they didn't think you had talent, they wouldn't say anything to you. Look at all the other kids that they don't even talk to or they don't mention. You know why?
Right,
Because they ain't got it. and they ain't going nowhere. So
Bruh.
you have to take that as a positive, not a negative.
The first job me and Don had with this moving company out there is Mr. Delandro and Sons. We got out there, man, and it's first time working with somebody outside the family, a male
Right.
figure, whatever. So,
Right.
man, we had one of the biggest jobs we've ever had was on our first day of work, right?
Okay.
So, man, we get out there, bruh, and this guy had a tool shed. The whole house was filled. We moved the house. We get to his tool shed, and they had some of the heaviest tools and equipment. If you don't know about tools, the junk is heavy, right? So, man, I
Right.
was carrying some stuff. My arms locked up like this, right? I said, Mr. D, I can't move my arms, right? So I'm thinking I was going to get some sympathy from him. Mr. D said, he called me Fingers because I play piano, right? He said, hold on a second, that Fingers. And he took a turnaround, found a box, and put it right in my hands. Like, man, it's perfect for a box. Like that, my hands are stuck like this. So I walk onto the truck like that. I was like, dang. But I was like, that seemed like that was hard, right? Like you made an analogy about you talked about your students saying, but they play hard tunes. Yeah, my arms are cramping up, but when he put that box in my hand, I was sore for 2 days, but on that fourth day, man, I was stronger. So
Right.
by the end of 6 months, man, we were picking up stuff that no regular people couldn't pick up.
Right.
Miss D and that same guy, he came up to us, told us, he said, slow down. Me and Don said, what? He said, I'm not making any money today. Y'all going too fast. I mean, we were zipping and stuff. He's like, slow down.
Right.
Brad knows Charlie Delandro. He was
okay.
member of church, but yeah.
I mean, man, the list of I remember reading an interview with Jimmy Jam Harris, who of the legendary Jam and Lewis production team, and used to be in the Time with Prince and all that stuff. But he was like, he said that when he got in the band, he was just like, he just thought he was going to play his little part or whatever.
Right.
And next thing you know, Prince is like, okay, you guys got to do steps. It's like, steps? So next thing you know, he's playing. He's got to do these steps with the band. He's like, Jimmy, what are you doing with your left hand? You need to be doing something with your left hand. You need to be playing the horn parts. He's like, what? I gotta play the main chord, and I gotta play the man. But he looks back on that and he goes, man, he said, if that had never happened, I would not be where I am today.
Right.
Right. He said, the next thing I knew, I was doing the steps and taking my hat off and tipping it and I could do whatever I want because he got my coordination up so tough that, so it's like those moments, man. Young guys, man, please just take it. You're going to be better. You're going to be better for it, man. So yeah, man. I mean, I was going to actually, bring in our resident producer for a hot second. I don't know if he's ready to come on, but so
he said no. You brought him on anyway?
I brought him in, man. Look, you're part of the team, bro. Brought him in butt naked.
Oh,
in, butt naked. Listen, I want
dance specialist
because Brian is relatively new to the jazz world. He has been one of the best students, man, in terms of asking questions, coming out. What song was that? Who's, just doing all of the due diligence right now. He came out to Red Light last week and he was like, oh, so he and our good friend, Mark the Foot Pod Horser, both came out and they had really interesting things to say after that. You care to
it was amazing. It was amazing. Just the whole scene was it floored me. Because I've been to several jazz things at Red Light and they were half full or fewer people. So seeing a packed house and hearing jazz at such a high level, all the stuff Gordon said was just exactly how I was feeling as someone who's just a close listener and lover of the music. So it was a fantastic experience, and I've been at going to Tin Roof for a long time, and that's a real high level of music.
Yeah.
But this is different, you know.
It's different. Yeah, it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
But
and
the
it's
level,
just, the level of music is just it was phenomenal.
right?
There was some great stuff going on. And man, when they finished the night with 20 minutes of Sissy Strut,
Yeah, it brought you back, huh?
I thought this is beautiful.
Right.
Well, I mean, you made a couple of mentions of a couple of things, and primarily just the vocalists that were at Red Light, and how
Audrey Shakir,
and how
and that version of Freddie Freeloader,
Yeah.
she was amazing. Yeah.
she also did
You don't know what love is.
You don't know what love is. See, he's learning, man. He got he's learning.
Great stuff.
She did a song that caught me butt naked too. That first
song.
man.
Yeah, with that extra 8 at the end.
Yeah, and the bridge was weird too. I was like, what is It's All Right With Me. That's what it was.
See, man, I was like, I could live in that what I'm saying? Like, I want that. Like,
right.
Throw that stuff that I gotta go and check out.
I said, I was like, okay. I said, I could try to pull up the chart. And Neil was like, you want my phone? I was like, dude, you don't even need this. Why do you even have it? Right? Why do you have all the real books on your phone?
Right.
You don't ever use it. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna put my ear to the test. Because do I get a chance to put my ear to the test? No. So let's do it. So I finally figured out the chord on the last freaking chorus. Oh man. But it was like fun to be challenged like that,
So there was a young couple that was sitting at the table next to me and Mark, and you could tell it was their first time. And so she kept asking me, like where did all of these people come from? And that's it. Well, it's just, it's the jam session. It's musicians from around town. And then when musicians would rotate, she would lean over and go, now, which band is this?
Wow.
And that said,
interesting.
It's not different bands. It's just people sitting in. And so I said, some of them may have never played together.
Look how you're the teacher now, bro.
Listen to him, man. I am.
You answer the question, not Mark. If Mark would have answered the question,
Mark, man,
he would have been like, "Well, this comedy happens on a New York Knicks team. They come together." Having never played before together.
Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson's contract is going to be up. Anthony Mason.
Y'all need to stop.
Clyde the Glide came in. You see this? Look how your boy did. Look how your boy doing you, bro.
I don't even know what he's talking about, man.
Look what your boy do you. You see what he?
I don't even know what he's talking about, man. I saw his face, man. I saw him looking around. He's like,
"Oh, why you gonna bust out Pod like that, man? Pod didn't deserve that, bro."
Man, whatever.
We were the oldest ones there, probably.
You were the oldest ones there by far.
And that was cool.
Yeah.
Because at Tin Roof, Mark's not the youngest, but I am.
Tin Roof, I'm thinking that one day, like the musicianship is so high, that one day somebody's going to discover that and y'all going to have the same kind of situation. Because Like,
oh man,
I'm
that
in awe
thing.
every time I go there. I was like, oh man, this is great.
I can't believe that we sit that close to that level of music.
Oh man, it's
Every
great.
week. It blows my socks
Yeah,
off.
it's killing. And the diversity of music and the level and the sound and stuff. Oh man. Yeah, I'm proud of my brother,
Encyclopedic.
man. I get to see Chris play in that environment, and it's really good to see him playing a different, not type of music, same mindset, right? Same mindset. And the challenge is
Amazing.
real on anything that you play musically. There's a challenge and a level to it. I don't care if it's
right.
R&B,
It's that
rock, folk, whatever.
You don't know what's coming, and you have to adapt. I mean, that's a great muscle to have. But
it's cool to see some of the people who go to the jazz session starting to come to Tin Roof.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. Yeah. That's a nice thing
Mm-hmm.
when that happens. But man, I'd love to see Tom or Chris at the jam session too.
How is throwing people on the bus, Tia?
T was oldest male, and T was oldest female.
I think you said I. He wanted to say I was oldest male. And
I was oldest.
Yeah.
Tia, you don't know how old Tia
you
is.
Know how old Tia is.
Why you throwing Tia out there, man?
Boy.
She bet she's gonna come in a second.
So y'all have a lot of work to do tomorrow, right? So why don't we
yes, wrap it up, B.
Sounds good.
I need to get off this stage, man.
That's you.
I'm very uncomfortable.
Okay, bye.
That's a great idea because we got to work it out tomorrow.
Man, he's just trying to get off so he can,
But he's got a great point. You gotta get up early in the morning.
Oh, I'm already, man.
I can't wait, man.
I'm worn out from all this grilling I did today, man. Golly,
come on, bro. Come on.
I didn't do it. My wife did it. But anyway, I did set up the grill. We trying to beat the rain and stuff. We got some stuff in though, man. Trying to get back on the grill, man. And leave these
come on,
these half joking restaurants alone.
Expensive and the product is bad. You can't have both.
See, but what's funny, what's cool though, is I gotta give a shout out to some of these content creators, foodie content, because they're calling spots out, man.
Yeah.
They're like, this ain't nothing, and I'm like, yes, finally.
Yeah.
It's like you can't just, everything, like you said, is so expensive now. Right. It's like, nah, man, we getting back on it. So,
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. We have a session in the morning. I have to drive. He's already there, cozy and comfy. Man, that ain't even right.
My mind is still working, though. Mine is working, bro.
Yeah, but you write down. You probably write. You might write down. You on campus somewhere. I know where you at, man. I know you close, man. I know you close. I know you
close, bro.
Man, ain't right, bro.
I'm working, bro. I'm working.
So, no. But looking forward to tomorrow. We're gonna finish up on Carla Harris's project and heading down to Auburn. Really looking forward to seeing the new studio and getting some time in there. Yeah, let's recap. So Tyrone Jackson and Friends at Red Light, July 28th, and that's an afternoon show, 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Organ Night at Napoleon's, August 8th. Mm-hmm. That's at 8 o'clock with Pat and Tyrone each playing one set. Mm-hmm. And then if you're in the Nashville area, we are going to be at Rudy's Jazz Room on the 9th and 10th. I think that's an 8 o'clock. I think there's two sets, but I think the first one is that we had a flyer for that. Let me see if do we have that B?
Yeah. That's all. That's nice. Got you on the bottom left and Ben Weatherford on somewhere on the right and Pat in the middle. Had like a blue color script or something.
I got it. If you don't have, there he is. He got it.
Like, see, come on, man. Look at that memory, bro. Oh, where you were on the right side.
You was in the. See,
I did see the blue.
That's what happens. That's what happens.
Flipped around in my mind.
So yeah, so
Hey, Ben Weatherford don't look like that anymore.
You got that
Change.
right. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah,
Looking forward to playing
to
with Ben. Looking forward to playing with Pat. Going to be
Yeah.
killing. All right. So thank you everybody to everybody that was in the chat. Mark, Brad, Bob Boyce, how you doing, man? Haven't seen Bob in a hot minute. What's going on, man? Robert Boone checking in. John, good to see you. John Harris. Oh,
Yeah.
we missed Mr. Harris's comment here. Says he heard you guys had a great session today, just listening for a bit. So he was in and out. All right. The hammer must have left too. He never told us
why the nickname.
Where he got the nickname from. But all of that to say, guys, next week we have Michelle Malone coming on to talk about. Yeah, we she was supposed to be on earlier in the month, and we had to push her back. So we're looking forward to seeing what she's up to, hearing about her fantastic career and what's going on with her. So she'll be on the show with us next week. And other than that, man, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe, check it out, share this podcast wherever you are, like us on Facebook and Instagram, follow us, and again, share. We're gonna stay with it, man. I don't care what we ain't got nothing else to do. Got to do something, man.
Staple, man.
Do something different, man. Just do something. Do something else, you know. So we're gonna stick with it. It was brought to our attention that this is our 50th show. That's crazy. Wow. So let's see. We have one more comment. Oh, brother Jay, what's going on, man? Jay Williams, drum extraordinaire. We got more stuff coming up with Jay.
It's only a week, brother.
We're gonna do some drum stuff. We're gonna do some more. So stay tuned.
Hey Brian, show that picture for Jay so he can see what my office was this morning. He'd have been happy on this one. Jay, check this out when you get a chance to check this little picture out there, bro. So no, one of these instruments is one of your favorite instruments to play with.
I need to hear this, man.
You want to play just here. You want to just talk drumming stuff, Jay.
I need to hear it. I need to hear it.
I don't know what it's real, bro.
I need to hear it, man. I need to hear it. But he did say his dad was an organist.
Did your dad play any music?
He would just love me. He just loved music.
Okay, cool.
He just loved music. So
did you know my dad played clarinet?
No.
Yes, he was.
He lucky I didn't find that one out, boy.
But here's the deal: he was playing in the French Quarter, and his mother, my grandmother, said no, things are going to happen in the French Quarter, so took him out of it. My dad got into trouble anyway. She should have let him stay, you know. Oh man. Anyway,
we don't talk about the OG like that, man.
Well, you know, he even claims the bad stuff that we have. We got it from him. I was like, wow, bruh. First dude I know claimed the bad stuff too.
Oh man.
Rest in peace, man. Miss that cat, bro.
Yeah, man. So do we have that? Do we have that picture B of the Tyrone in the studio? Oh, there it is. I think it was the other one though. You want the other one?
Yes,
there you go.
All right, Jay. Look at that. It's 1968 B3, bro. Don't look at Chocolate Thunder over there. That's my Rose.
Daryl Dawkins, bro.
Yeah, Daryl
Dawkins. The Daryl Dawkins of Rhodeses.
Daryl Dawkins of Rhodes, bro. You'll hear it. You'll hear it tomorrow. You've heard it before, but you know. Oh, he even had a little residency at your crib one time. Remember? It was over there for a little minute, for a hot minute.
Yeah.
All right, there. Well, man, good show. Unusual phenomenon. That's even more of like when you put unusual on top of phenomenon, that's even more rare, isn't it?
Yep. An unusual phenomenon. I got that from a movie. So
yeah, it's funny because my qualitative research is phenomenology.
oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
experiences and
deep.
behaviors from people that you're getting it
Man,
from. So
that's crazy. That's incredible, man.
yeah, yeah,
I'd love to hear some some more about that.
yeah.
That's really cool.
It's lived experiences. That's what you're interested in.
Okay.
Lived experiences.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We will see you guys next week. Everybody have a great week and peace out.